Well, this is certainly something extremely wonderful to represent. Hello to you everybody, it's Foxy speaking, and it's a special representation, but done in a different format because of something special that happened this time last year. But hello everybody watching, hello everybody, hello. And why this is a special representation regarding this time last year, it's a wonderful moment I'm never going to forget for a lifetime. No, really, it's a wonderful moment, a well and truly wonderful moment I'm never going to forget. No, really, I'll never truly forget this in a lifetime. I really won't. And why I'm never going to forget this thing is because this time last year, it's gone now, but on the 1st of September of 2023, which is a few short days this time last year, and it's now been over a year since that very day itself, it marked the first ever time that I partook in watching Graham and Fiona's content, and they were live streaming that day, and it was the very first time I'd ever watched one of their live stream contents. It was an extremely long live stream, but fun. It was extremely long, but extremely fun at the same time. The longer the live stream, as I've so found, the longer the live stream, the more fun it truly is. I mean, really, it's well and truly a lot of fun whenever a live stream is happening and all that, as I've so found. And certainly whenever I've been live streaming for a long time, I found it's a lot of fun. It's well and truly fun, I've certainly got to say. I mean, you know, it was brilliant. Graham and Fiona were live streaming, and I just had the time of my life with my experiences on the live stream, not only through the communications with Graham, proper communications with Graham, or Graham and Fiona, but I ended up befriending lots of wonderful new friends as a result of the live stream, unexpectedly. Much to my surprise, I ended up making friends with people I simply never thought I would, you know, become friends with. So it was a big bonus in a way, a very big bonus when it happened, and so forth. I mean, I didn't, you know, it was just so wonderful, and I'm extremely grateful that I did it, and I'm happy that I did it, and I'm extremely grateful for what Graham and Fiona did when they provided the very live stream. It was at first sunset, then Graham's representation, and then Fiona joined about halfway through the live stream. I think it's privatised now. I don't know if it's public now, because I haven't seen it public on Graham's channel, but if it ever does become public again, I will certainly one day link the video. I mean, it was just the most extraordinary live stream of Graham and Fiona's that I'd watched and partook in. You know, and I mean, even now, I've got goosebumps, not only with them, the communications and the interactions with others, but the friendly connections with other people that I so felt and saw within and experienced directly within the live stream itself and all that. And Graham, I mean, bless Graham, he well and truly didn't have to, but before the live stream ended, he ended up recommending my content, and then the mods, who seemingly thought it was my channel, linked my channel, which they got right, and I ended up receiving quite a few subs after the live stream, and I did not expect any of this to happen whatsoever. And it was about quite shortly after the live stream I ended up hearing from Jodi fairly often and all that. And I still hear from Jodi to this day. And I did a post not too long after, and then from one of my friends who partook in the live stream at the time, she commented on it and said something very nice to me when she saw that post of me that September of 2023. You know, but always wonderful. And that was the very first time I became acquainted with Toni Stark, Sandra Parrott, although she couldn't keep up with the chat, but bless Sandra, never mind, you know, she said she was never a particularly fast reader to begin with, but you know, not everybody is, so I certainly do not criticise Sandra in that way whatsoever. If I did, I'd be lower than the sewage water, you know, but that would be terrible. No. Not to worry, Sandra, no criticism whatsoever. You only did what you could, and and always do I enjoy the interactions with you, whether it's a fast response or a slow response. Certainly doesn't matter by and large whatsoever. Oh dear, oh yes, certainly doesn't matter, and no trouble whatsoever. You know, and it was the first time I became, there's Toni, Sandra, that was on the very day, but others came later on after my representation, which I least expected to happen. And who was next? Oh, that's the first time I became acquainted with Rosie. That's Rosie in Scotland, and the other Rosie in Alabama, although we were not properly acquainted with the friendship at that point, but we never said hello to each other. She was on momentarily, but then she had to go. But we'd never communicated at this point. It wasn't till later on that we communicated together between one another and all the rest of it, and so forth. And Susan Reich, that was the first time I became acquainted with Susan, lovely Susan. And Ria, Marcia, Jodi was on the live at that time. I became acquainted with quite a great few. There were just so many on, it's hard to list them all out and so forth, you know. But I was most conversant probably with Toni on the live. I mean, really, I never expected we'd be that conversant, bonding together, but we well and truly bonded. No, really, we well and truly did. And has said some very nice things regarding me. She's a retired nurse, she is, and as most of you may know already. And she's an Okie lady. She's based over in Oklahoma, but is hoping to see me in Brighton in England one day in the future. Well, if she comes over to Brighton in England, I would certainly be far more than happy to run into her too. Or over in Oklahoma, I would run into her in Oklahoma as well. I certainly would indeed. I mean, she's a well and truly wonderful friend, Toni. You know, and she's even said I once looked handsome. Who said, that's a handsome picture. Oh, that was very nice of Toni to have said this. Well, not a lot of people think of me as a handsome man, but some still do, and pretty much a lot of people within Graham and Fiona's and Trevor's community think that of me, and the Hutch's community, and all that. But the other friends like Leeisa, Mary, and Michelle, Elaine, Caroline, and who there, Katrin, etc. They didn't come till later, but really, and I love them dearly, no, really I do. And all the other wonderful friends who I've become fortunate to have befriended include Jennifer. There's another Jennifer in America and a Jennifer in Canada. That was much, much later on. And who else is there? There's a Susan Elkin. She's always very lovely and extremely pleasant towards one another. Oh God, there's so many to mention. Carlah, Maggie, Christine Prince, Christine Sockup. There are quite a few Christines I know. Christine Raymond, there are quite a few Christines I know. Carole T, Carole C. I became fortunate to have encountered them. The two Carols, both very loving, but the particularly loving Carole is Carole C. I mean, I love her to bits. No, really, I love Carole C to bits, well and truly. And I mean, there's so many. Gosh, I'm beginning to run rusty. And there's a Rena, lovely Rena. Lovely lady Rena. Oh gosh, so many. I'm going to run dry before fortune. And all that. So many to list out. Oh, Deborah Coleman. Yes, lovely Deborah Coleman. Oh, well, so many to list out. You know, but had it not been for Graham and Fiona, I never would have had the good fortune with encountering Toni, Mary, Sandra, that's Toni Stark, Mary Ipock, Sandra Parrott, Mrs. Murphy. Oh, I forgot Mrs. Murphy. Oh gosh, why did I forget Mrs. Murphy? Mrs. P. Murphy, that is. And Rosie in Alabama, And then there's Susan Reich. There are quite a few Susans I've encountered. Susan Reich, Michelle, that's Michelle Pope. Oh, who couldn't love Michelle Pope? I love Michelle, I really do. No, I mean, who couldn't love this wonderful, delightful lady? Always so lovingly pleasant and genuinely having one's back, especially when they're facing trolling attacks and all that, or any form of attack, be it verbal or physical. Wonderful friend. Couldn't have it any other way. Lovely Elaine Williams, Caroline Allen, and the Rosie in Scotland, and Carole T. That's Katrin, the Iceland resident. And there's lovely Emily. No, there's so many. There's Ria, Marcia, Jodi, and there's Emily in Austria. Emily in Austria, who's a, you know, who has, that's the one with the very tall family, who had the very, very tall 6'9" grandfather, and she's only 5'9.5" herself, but her parents are over 6 foot, and her brother is over 6 foot, well over that, in fact. Lovely Wanda, lovely Lady Wanda, and Carlah, lovely Carlah, Deborah, that's Trevor Coult I'm referring to, Stephen Magnus, Sapper, oh he's brilliant, Sapper, one of my best friends. No, really, he's one of my best friends, because he's now taken up YouTubing in recent times and all that. Susan Elkin, Maggie P, quite a few Christines, Christine Sockup, Christine Prince, quite a few Christines. And there's a Julie, there's a Julie, I know, a Julia in Australia. The Julie's was Vermont, I think she's going to Florida. A Julia, Australia. Who is next? Oh my goodness. Carole Tapia, Carole Casey. The two Carols, the two lovingly wonderful Carols. There's a Kaye, lovely Kaye. Kazi, Kazel. Oh my, and there's a Patricia Gimme. That is. Oh my goodness, so many to mention. I'm going to be rusty. Carlah, lovely Carlah. Carlah, she's Wales. Dawn Rawlins, she's again Wales as well. Dawn Rawlins. My God, I'm going to be rusty. Rena, there's a lovely Rena. Suzanne Baxter. So many to list out. I mean, I'm probably going to go rusty in a minute. And a Blacksmith, lovely Blacksmith, a friendly man Blacksmith, who's sadly a widower because his wife died, unfortunately. I don't know when, but he lost his wife, unfortunately. But I'm really, by and large, missing out a lot. I think I said Wanda, lovely Wanda. Gosh. So many to list out, but we'll leave it at there for now. But I've made so many wonderful new friends through Graham and Fiona. I mean, I'm going to go rusty on and probably miss some people out. I don't want to miss too many out, but I'm going to go rusty. I will write that list down eventually, but I've failed done it stupidly. But if I write the list down, I'll be able to explain it in far greater captivated depth of insight and all the rest of it. But Duchess Leeisa, lovely Leeisa, and her dearly loved partner Clinton, and the cats, Marmalade and Phoebe Nix. You know, apparently they're very big now, particularly Marmalade, according to Leeisa. I mean, that from that very live stream, I've stuck firmly with Graham and Fiona's side. I mean, I've stuck firmly with them since the live stream. I mean, I enjoyed my experiences enormously when I partook in the live stream Graham and Fiona did. No, really, I enjoyed it enormously. And whenever I've been able to make it, I've partaken in more live streams of Graham and Fiona's, and I've even had the fortunate experience of making some live stream appearances with Graham and Fiona, which is certainly, I cannot thank them both enough for it. And I also, the thing I really owe the most thanks towards Graham and Fiona for is is all the support they've given towards me, and on occasions promoting my content from time to time. I really, well and truly, cannot thank them enough for it. I mean, really, they are one of my best friends, Graham and Fiona. No, really, they are well and truly one of my best friends. I certainly regard them as that. A year later, we are friends like that, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And I feel so fortunate to be a part of associated with their community. Had it not been for Graham and Fiona, I never would have had the fortunate privilege of being associated with Trevor's community as well, or the Hutch's community, Duchess Blair, and several to mention. I mean, I must say, other best friends, Annabelle and Gregopedia, and all that. Wonderful, wonderful people. I mean, fantastic community. I mean, I really wish there were more communities like Graham and Fiona's. And I'm just so... What astonishes me the most is that communities like Graham and Fiona's don't receive as much popularity compared to gamers. YouTubing gamers who have, what, millions and millions and millions of subscribers, which are shed loads of subscribers. They hardly do anything, and they don't really... You'd think they're bringing the world together. I wouldn't really think so, no. Not really. They're just like, so many subs, game, lack of effort, game. That sort of thing. I'm not trying to spread disinformation or anything. There are good gamers. The only gamers I preferably like, in my opinion, that is. But a lot of you are probably going to dislike me for it, but I understand, completely understand. The gamers I preferably prefer are the ones who do live streams and bring the world together. You know, they communicate with their audience, or those live, and when they're playing, you know, as if we've got a host playing with them, and that they've got an audience to talk to, or a virtual viewership audience, what have you, if it explains or makes sense and all that, and so forth, yes. So there we are, but communities like Graham, Fiona's, Trevor's, Duchess Blair's, the Hutches, Annabelle's, or Susie Smith, another example, or any community that, you know, does live streams with a global following around the world, I've so found are one of the greatest communities I've ever encountered. Really, one of the greatest communities I've ever encountered. I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, it's just brilliant. And Graham, I have a lot of respect for Graham because he's ex-military. And anybody who's ex-military or served in the armed forces, I have much admirable respect towards those who have served for all that they've done when they served in the armed forces. Even if it's for a short period of time, I have much admirable respect indeed. Though really I do. Well and truly, I must say. I mean, Graham and Fiona, 1 year on, and especially 1 year since Fiona did the video representing my content, at the least of my expectations, I have much thanking gratitude towards both of you. I thank you enormously, and especially since we've recently had the anniversary, since I really first became properly associated with your content. But why it's important, this anniversary, to me, because the content and the tremendously terrific community you've created, it's one of the greatest communities I've came across. Really, by and large, one of the greatest communities. And we need more communities like yours, Trevor's, and even I know quite a few YouTubers who do one or two who do similar content to yours, bringing the world together with live streams, etc. and so forth. And we need more of that. I really truly believe we need more communities like that, in my opinion, but I'll leave it for others to decide, to those who've already watched this. I mean, really, thank you so very, very much for warmly welcoming me into the wonderful confines of your friendly, fantastic community, which is a tremendously terrific community, enormously, hugely, Graham and Fiona. So thank you. Thank you. Had I not found out, or had Graham not encountered my content, I never would have found out about the extraordinary community you provide, you know. And as we take the time to commemorate this special anniversary, with much appreciation and much gratitude, much thanking gratitude, vitally importantly. As Graham and Fiona, they're one of my best friends I could truly never take for granted, and I'd always want to support them in whatever way I can, as our friendship happily continually begins to flourish, happily into the future years to come and so forth. And all the friends I've made through Graham and Fiona, towards both of you, Graham and Fiona, it's valuable, it's well and truly valuable, and I cannot thank you enough. And all of you who follow Graham and Fiona but also follow me sporadically from time to time as well, all of the nice things you've said towards me, I cannot thank you enough for them. For the compliments, I've had many wonderful nice things said about me from all of my wonderful friends through Graham and Fiona, or those who I just newly encountered and became newly friends with, and all that, newly became friendly with, or newly friends with, and so forth, and all that. But, and said some nice things and so forth, but there is one thing, there's a particularly valuable and emotionally, visibly moving thing that was said to me from one of my most wonderful friends through Graham and Fiona, and certainly one of my friends who I love to bits, I love her to bits. She said it to me one November 2023 evening, and I'm never going to forget this time. I've said it many times before. I'll never forget it. If you want to know who said it, it was Michelle Pope who said that extremely, visibly moving compliment towards me that very November 2023 evening before Graham and Fiona flew over to London for Graham's surgical cancer removal surgery and all that, which he successfully underwent, but then he had a cancer return, poor man, but thankfully he's fighting it with the flaxseed oil and the cottage cheese, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it will work, and I believe he's going to pull through it, because he's a remarkably, amazingly brave, strong man, our Graham is. I mean, well and truly he is. But when the people claimed he never had cancer and laughed about him having cancer, the trolls, that was what angered. I was angered by that. I was bloody angered. I would never have anybody laugh at anybody having cancer, or any genuine health trouble or all that. Not at all okay, and it does not excuse anything. Awful. But getting to what Michelle said to me that very November 2023 evening, she said something extremely nice to Graham and Fiona, and I couldn't have had a more thanking gratitude of approach towards her for it. I was so pleased, and I appreciated it, and I valued it so much, what she said to Graham and Fiona that November 2023 evening. I felt I had to say something to her about it, and I said, I commended her and said, that was very nice, Michelle. It was extremely nice of you to have said this. And I was like, and I remember you from the live streams and all that. And I was like, and thank you for all the nice things you had to say to Graham and Fiona. I mean, really, well and truly thank you, and so forth, or something like that. But I was worried. I'd caused her a disturbance and said it to her at the wrong moment. And she, I mean, bless her heart, she really didn't have to, but she did. And she said to me, she was like, why? She said, why are you worried? Why are you apologising? I think she said, why are you apologising? And then she said the thing that really captured me. It really grabbed me emotionally, what she said. As I never expected to receive something like this in a lifetime. I really didn't. And I'm not going to cry when saying this and representing it. But what she said to me, she said, you are the epitome of a true gentleman through and through. Which I'd like to say is very refreshing in this day and age. Yes, I mean, as I read it, in tears, I was emotionally invested, and in tears, albeit with happiness, as I read it, I was so moved visibly. Even now, I'm still in tears. I'm still tearful from that very moment when it happened. Really, I am, well and truly. And from that very moment when it happened, and I replied to her, and I just thanking her profusely for all that she had to say to me. There was only one person, and one person only, who I could truly depict as the epitome of a true gentleman, and that was nobody and none other than my wonderful late grandfather Edmund, who very sadly passed away on the 18th of February 2020, aged 73, due to thrombocythemia complications, as I've explained many times before. And he's had a strength and survival. He's gone through a lot of strength and survival, like Graham himself, from, you know, heart attack and then quadruple bypass surgery subsequently after, and then a damaged esophagus shortly after the quadruple bypass surgery. He's had some strength and survival too. And then, 20 or so years following heart attack and quadruple bypass surgery, it was the thrombocythemia, which was unfortunately what got him in the end. I mean, the loss devastated both myself and my grandmother and all of my family. But my grandmother was most affected by the loss, as one could imagine. And receiving something like this, when I could only ever depict this in my wonderful grandfather, it really is, you know, I felt the emotion very strongly, and it truly means a lot, because he meant a lot to me growing up, and I was very close to my wonderful grandfather. I really was very close to my Edmund when growing up, having spent a lot of time with him, both him and my grandmother when I was a small boy, and in other parts of my misspent youth. And if I can get something, what he and my grandmother gifted to me as a little boy, this storybook, Katrin Canary. My grandparents gifted this to me when I was only about 7, and I couldn't be more thankful towards them both for gifting this to me when I was a little boy. And it's a storybook I still read to this day. Katrin Canary, written by Michael Foreman, fantastic British author he is. I think the book one can purchase it online. So if those of you who are keen on storybooks or audiobooks, if it's on audiobook, I'd recommend one listen or read to it. I would truly recommend this to anybody, Katrin Canary, and so forth. No, really, I would well and truly recommend Katrin Canary indeed. And to be regarded or for someone to depict, or for somebody to depict something in me that I could only ever truly see in a wonderful relative, family relative, or one of my wonderful late grandparents who I loved and looked up to hugely, with a huge reverie. It is emotionally moving, and it does mean a lot. It really does. I mean, I love Michelle, I really do. I love her in the same way Graham and Fiona love her. I mean, really I do, and I'd never take her for granted. I've even twice appeared on a live with Michelle. I mean, most of you already know this. Twice I've appeared with her on a live. Always were they wonderful times. And she has partaken in a few live streams of mine in the chat section. You know, and she is sometimes known to come over here from time to time, but, you know, always leave it to her what she decides to do, because, and all that. And so forth, you know, but wonderful friend. I mean, one of my most wonderful friends who I just love lots and dearly. I mean, I love all of my friends through Graham and Fiona, I really do, and I could never take one of them for granted, never in a lifetime. The friendship I have with all of my friends through Graham and Fiona is too valuable, far too valuable to ever take my friends for granted. Really, much too valuable, I've certainly got to say. But once again, Graham and Fiona, thank you. Thank you so very, very much for allowing me to take part in viewing your tremendously terrific community and all the friendly, fantastic courtesy you've provided towards me and everybody you support and admirably look up to with a fond degree of a great reverie and all that. So thank you, thank you. And soon it's going to be tribute time, and we take the time to commemorate the anniversary of me becoming associated with Graham and Fiona. And I would never leave them. I just couldn't leave them. I'm sticking by their side. I'm really far more than happy to stick by their side. Happy or sad, I would always be sticking by their side, no matter what the circumstances, or no matter what the weather or circumstances may well be. But thanks everybody all indeed for watching. For those of you who are not remotely familiar with Graham and Fiona, I shall link both Graham and Fiona's channels in the description below, their main channels, and certainly Graham's Baron Flying Club channel and his airgun review channel I shall link in the description below. Thanks all for watching, and it's soon tribute time. Good night, and may your God go with you. Goodbye, and may your good wishes be bringing you great expectations of happiness. And now, lights, camera, action, tribute time. Thanks for watching.